Blog Talk Radio.
Greetings, Stone Guardians, Crystal Keeper, Gem Lovers of Rockhound, welcome to There's a Rock for That!
Hello, and welcome to There's a Rock for That. I am your host, Mary Brown, and I welcome you all today on this lovely Saturday, March 6, 2021. And we are a live call-in show. I will be taking your calls throughout the show for free crystal mini readings. If you have a question that you would like a reading on, or if you would just like to talk about the topics today. And the topics today are lucky stones. It is the month of March. We have St. Patty's Day coming up on March 17th. So it's a good time to talk about stones that are thought to be lucky. And our featured crystal, our crystal guest for the month, is Labradorite, which happens to be one of the lucky stones and one of my favorite stones. And we're going to talk about some very interesting things about Labradorite towards probably the second half of the show. So you can call in, and the number to call is 714-816. Again, the number to call is 714-816-4628. If you want a free crystal mini reading, or if you just want to chime in on the show topics, or there's crystal other crystals that you want to talk about, that's fine too. But when you do call that number again, which is 714-816-4628, you want to be sure to press the number 1 on your dial pad. That way it kind of raises your hand on the switchboard here, and I know that you want to be on the air. But if you don't want to call in, you can also chat along with other listeners to the show on our chat post on Facebook. That's on our Facebook group, the Psychic Talk Radio Facebook group. You can find that link to the chat post really easily by just going to psychictalk.net/chat, and it will take you right over to our chat post on Facebook. And today's show is sponsored by the Tarot Guild, the international organization for tarot lovers, students, and professional readers since 2004. Be sure to go check out the Tarot Guild by going to www.thetarotguild.com. All right. And I'm really excited about the show today. I love the idea of lucky stones, and we're going to talk about that first. What are some stones that are traditionally considered lucky stones, and also, can a stone be lucky even if it's not, part of that tradition? Of course it can. To me, on a very basic level, a lucky stone can be anything. It can be a stone that you find on the ground on your walk somewhere. It can be a stone that you just keep in your pocket. It doesn't have to be a specific crystal, but there are crystals that have that association of being luck-oriented in various different ways, right? Because when we talk about good luck, right, we're not always thinking of the same thing. We might want help and some luck when it comes to our finances, or for love, or for just our health, or for life in general, or just for good things to happen to us. And boy, don't we all kind of need a little luck lately in this crazy world that we're in? I think we do. So let's talk about the ones that are kind of, again, it can be any kind of stone, one that you just feel is lucky. But what are the ones that are maybe traditionally considered lucky stones? Well, one of them is Peridot, and that's a beautiful little green color, and they call it the money stone. So it's one of the stones that's like associated with good luck when it comes to our finances and for wealth. And the thing that's interesting about this is Peridot is a stone that's also talked about as one that helps clear thinking, helps to clarify your mind, especially when you're focused on finances and making the right choices. So, part of luck sometimes is making the right choices. It's probably a big part of it. And it's a beautiful green stone. A lot of people either like to wear it for luck, or they might keep like a little raw or polished piece of it, in their pocket or in their purse or wallet, whatever. Some people like to keep, stones associated with wealth like Peridot in their wallet, in anything, like if you have a business, like maybe a little stone in your cash register, that kind of thing. Another lucky stone is Pyrite. And Pyrite is really interesting because it's that, fool's gold. It's that one that looks like gold but really isn't. But because it looks like gold, it's come to symbolize, again, money and prosperity and good luck. And the way that it looks connects it to the sun. It kind of reminds you of that radiation from the sun, where you see the flashiness of the pyrite. And this is to our solar plexus chakra and our vitality. Another lucky stone is amethyst, believe it or not. So amethyst is a stone that we see so many different attributes for. It's so popular. It's everywhere. And, it's one of those things that a lot of these stones, and practically all stones, have a lot of different attributes or properties associated with them. And amethyst, like other quartz crystals, is programmable. So if you want to take one of your pieces of amethyst and say, like, okay, you're going to be my good luck stone, then, put your intention into it. Sit with it. Hold it in your hand and, make that affirmation that this is my stone for luck. You don't have to do that with all your amethysts. Just pick one to do that with, carry it around with you, or if it's a piece of jewelry, even better, you can wear it. And I would, say the same thing about citrine, another quartz stone. With citrine, it does have quite the long reputation for being a stone associated with prosperity and wealth and good luck. And so, again, program these crystals to be your lucky stone if you want to use them in that way. Another one is tiger's eye. I love tiger's eye. So many people love tiger's eye. And that is another stone that it's more associated not just so much with wealth, but just in success in general and opening up opportunities in your life. And another lucky stone, which is another, and see, most of these lucky stones, Peridot, can be a little bit pricey when you're looking for a nice piece of Peridot, but most of these stones are pretty easily accessible, easy to get. Everybody sells them that sells rocks, right? And also not that expensive. You can get a decent little piece of citrine or tiger's eye, and definitely amethyst, for $1 around in there. Depends on where you live, where you shop. But another one is blue kyanite. That's another stone that we see a lot of, and it's kind of funny because usually with kyanite, it's kind of funny because I realized when I was going through this list before the show today that I'm calling these all stones, and I think of stones, for whatever reason, I think of them as kind of big, round, chunky, kind of things. And kyanite is always these thin blades, So I don't know why that just, wow, this one's a little bit different from the rest. But blue kyanite, very easily accessible. usually pretty inexpensive. Great stone for communication. So if you're not having too much luck when you're talking to people, right? Sometimes we have those situations where there's people that we just can't seem like we're not speaking the same language or something. We have difficulty communicating, and maybe we need more luck there. Maybe we need more luck in our communication if we're going to present something at a big business meeting or something like that. So blue kyanite is terrific. Lucky stone, and really the focus on communication, I think, helps. Kyanite is also great stone for motivating us into really trying to take action to make our dreams come true. Okay, so if we need more luck in that way, that's kyanite would be your go-to. And then agate. Who doesn't love an agate? And there's so many different types of agate. Agate seems to be so incredibly popular. It's one of the most powerful luck stones because this idea of the energy of agate and being so powerful as a lucky stone is because there's multiple different types of quartz minerals that you see in agate. And it helps balance energies and attract luck into your life. And again, associated for a lot of people with finances. They think of agate as a lucky stone for finances. And then today's featured stone, Labradorite, is considered traditionally one of the lucky stones as well. It has this reputation for being so magical and transformative that it can help us to transform our lives. It can boost our self-confidence and creativity and protects us from making bad choices and strengthens our willpower to go ahead and do the things we need to do to achieve our dreams. Sapphire, another popular stone. Okay, sapphire, can be a little more pricey, but sapphire is also considered a lucky stone and has this idea of helping us to recover things that we've lost, and again, helping us make the right choices because it's associated with wisdom. And it is sapphires are just gorgeous, right? And you can find some that are inexpensive. They're not going to be like the big flashy ones, but a little piece of sapphire you can get, pretty easily and without too much damage on your wallet. And then Aventurine, one of my favorite stones, Aventurine. Green Aventurine has been considered a lucky stone for a really long time. And it's funny because it's associated with gamblers, right? So people that would go, I guess, to the casino or whatever might have green Aventurine with them to make sure they do good at the tables. But Aventurine, again, easily accessible, pretty inexpensive. And carnelian is the last one I wanted to mention. That is a powerhouse stone, inexpensive, easy to get, and just, amazing. Carnelian is such a beautiful stone anyways, but it, again, is associated with, bringing our energy and our creativity up, encouraging us to be confident and courageous and making those decisions sometimes where we have to take a gamble. Kind of like the Aventurine and carnelian kind of gives you like the courage to do it. And there's tons of them, even malachite, aura, spirit quartz, garnet, clear quartz, amber, black tourmaline, ruby. All of these stones are thought to kind of boost your positive vibes and help luck to come more into your life. So again, these are the ones that, have that association and have had that association of being lucky stones for a really long time. But, this short list really isn't, all inclusive because, again, any stone can be your lucky stone. So think of that as St. Patty Day comes up here this month on March 17th, and take out a lucky stone or take one of your favorite stones and program it with your intention that this is going to be the stone that's going to bring good fortune your way. All right. Why don't we go ahead and take a call here? Let me give out that number one more time before I do. And that number is 714-816-4628. Be sure to press number one. Press 1 on your dial pad so I know you want to be on the air. And before we start talking about our featured crystal, why don't we go ahead and take some calls here. Let's see who has been waiting the longest. And that is, oh my goodness, area code 954. Code 954. Hello, caller. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you for taking my call. Are you doing
Absolutely.
Do you answer any health conditions readings?
Not specifically because I'm not a doctor. But if you have a question that's just kind of a more broad, more general question, I can definitely take a look at that.
It's regarding some leg pain I'm having in my thigh, and I just wondered if you pick up anything. If not, then I can ask something else.
Okay, well, let's just see what comes up on that, okay? But again, if this is something unusual, you want to make sure you get it checked out by a medical professional.
I have an X-ray coming up, and I'm getting, some medical people to look at it.
Perfect. And what's your name and where are you calling from?
Mary from Florida.
Mary, that's my name too. I love that. Mary. Well, I got to do a reading for Mary. Okay. So let me just get some crystals out here to see what comes up, And you said it's this leg pain in your thigh, and you're already going to see a doctor, which is fabulous. Okay.
Right. I had an acupuncture treatment yesterday. It doesn't seem to help very much so far.
I do love acupuncture, but yeah, look, it's like we gotta find what works,
Right.
Sometimes
helped me in the past for other things, so I'm trying that as well as being medical, getting X-rays and that.
Yeah, that's good. That is very good. And let me just see. I'm just looking at what comes up here. There's only one. This is very interesting. 4 and 5. What really stands out to me when I look at the what the stones are saying here, there is this kind of interesting thing. Like you said, it's your leg, right? Your thigh
well, it's
area.
The thigh, and it may be connected. I'm going to have a hip X-ray so they can see whether or not it's coming from the hip or the upper bone. Yeah. It's something I haven't had before, but I have some other conditions going on in the body simultaneously.
You don't have sciatica, do you?
No, it doesn't seem to feel like it's coming from the hip and going down. Rather, it's coming from the front, going into my acupuncturist thinks it might be a femur bone or something related there. But like I say, I have some other conditions going on, possibly infection or inflammatory things, and I'm wondering if that is creating additional problems.
Right, because it's interesting. It's like what stands out to me with the stones that come up here is like it's like a column, of the body, like the mid, like from the heart down to the of course, this, I'm talking about chakras, right? So from the heart chakra area, the solar plexus area, and kind of down. So it does feel like there's something that is maybe like the problem isn't just in the thigh, is how I would put it.
Right.
And again, I think it's absolutely important that you have that appointment to see a doctor about this. But the feeling I get is that this is also something that is going to be figured out. That there is a solution for this. So maybe the acupuncturist, like, look, I always think that that's a great first step. Is whatever modality it is that we have found success with, and we get to know the practitioner and stuff. I think it's always great to, start there. And when we have, great practitioners, they let us know, like, hey, this might be beyond, what I do. So right. I think that's good. I feel like this is something that is going to be resolved for you. And, I get this sense of harmony at the end, harmony and healing comes up here. But definitely it feels
slide, and it's so painful that it's affecting my walking and movement and everything. I do have some underlying conditions as well. I've had some blood work, and I'm waiting on results there and some other tests. So I'm going at it from several approaches.
Perfect. Because, it's like when we have issues or when we have pain, it just reminds us of how everything in the body is so interconnected, because it can affect our walking. And then when we're walking kind of funny, that can affect our hip or our back, or it's like the whole these complete beings, and all the little things are connected. And that may be why the stones are showing like this sort of column area, that it's not just an issue right in that place in your leg where you're feeling the most.
Right, it can be referred.
Yeah, exactly. So, that helps you. I think the main thing here is just, validating really what you're already doing, validating that, I need somebody to look at the whole picture,
Right.
So
is there any particular stones? I know that amethyst is good, and rose and quartz. Anything else that might help with healing? Any particular stone?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Amethyst is a great all around. Malachite is a great healing stone. I feel like malachite especially is the one that I would be working with, and also it's just like it's just pop. I'm seeing the stone in my head. Why is that? That's weird. Rutilated quartz. So rutilated quartz is like clear quartz, but it's got these little, what they call rutile, pieces of rutile inside the quartz. And it for some reason, I feel like, if you can get a piece of rutilated quartz, that is going to assist you. In addition to the medical care that you're getting, what I would do, rutilated quartz, even just take some malachite too, and amethyst, what other healing stones you feel like, drawn to, but those three in particular, and place them on the area where it hurts. We talk about grid work, body work, that kind of thing, but if you just put them on there for a while, sometimes I even tape stones, I have issues with my knees, and I will tape the stones to my knees and just kind of stretch out and relax for a few minutes, usually not longer than 10, 15 minutes. That can be helpful. And also, it shifts the focus. That's another thing that's so great about working with crystals, because they're so beautiful and they're interesting and they're different. They can give you something else to look at and to think about. And so you move that attention away from the ouch, I'm in pain kind of focus, and you focus on the stones instead, and you get this sort of feedback, and you can get some relief that way too. So, try it all, but I think you're on the right track.
I appreciate that. I thank you very much, and thank you for having the show today.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks so much for calling. Take care.
Right, take
Have
care.
a good weekend.
Bye-bye. I know.
Bye-bye. Oh, wow. That's so cool. I think that is the first time Mary has called the show. It's so kind of funny. It used to be such a common name, right? And I just never, ever talk to any other Marys anymore, which is really bizarre. All right. So on to our next caller here. Let's see who has been waiting the longest here. And that is area code 330. Area code 330. Caller, are you there? Hello, 330. Going once, going twice. Area code 330. Are you there, caller? Okay, I am going to put 330 back on hold, and we will circle around. We'll come back and see if they've returned. Maybe they stepped away to get a beverage. You never know. That happens. Enter the door. A million different things. Okay, so let's go to our next caller, who's been holding the longest after that, and that is area code. Whoops. Where'd they go? Oh, here they are. Area code 916. Area code 916. Caller, are you there? Hello? 916. Are you there, caller? Wow, okay, that's weird. I'm going to put 916 back on hold. Okay. And I'm going to go to our next caller. I was like, is this a switchboard acting weird again? Okay, let's try area code 440. Area code 440. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, my name is Patricia.
We have a winner. Patricia, where are you calling from?
Calling from Ohio.
Ohio. All right. What did you want to talk about today?
Is there a particular subject that you're talking about, or I can just talk about anything?
Well, we are talking about lucky stones that we carry around or wear, and we think that they're lucky for us. Our crystal guest is Labradorite. But what do you want to talk about? Now I'm intrigued.
Anyway,
it's like
yes. Well, I do have I've got 3 pink crystals, 1 amethyst, and 1 black obsidian. I think the other is an onyx. I guess is to release or keep out negative energy, negative people. And then 1 clear crystal, I guess it's for hanging. But the pink and one of the pink crystals and amethyst I carry with me in my pocket when I'm going out, and obviously when I'm in public or dealing with people. And the amethyst I keep it's on my table. I don't carry the amethyst or obsidian on me. I don't want it, and I'm dealing with a particular health concern, so I don't want that to, I guess, interact with that. I don't know if I'm correct in that.
So which stone are you concerned about interacting?
But anyway, I just said that with the crystal. I've been trying to get, it's a different subject, find my mother's hospice chart, file chart from this agency when she lived in Los Angeles, but she died. She's been dead 21 years. And I've been wanting to obtain that chart, but I cannot remember the name of the agency. Now, I believe it was in Inglewood at the time, Inglewood, California, which is a suburb in Los Angeles. And I'm doing everything that I can to remember the name of the agency, and I'm not remembering.
The name of the agency or the name of the facility?
No, well, she was hospice at home. That's when hospice.
Oh, she did hospice at home, and you had an agency that would send people out, like hospice caretakers, to help. And wow. So what can help you? And you've researched it?
No, I can't. I can't remember the name, nor the address, nor this agency. So that's why I want him to obtain that file, her file folder.
Right. Was there? Do you remember anything about it? Like any of the people that were working for that may have worked with your mom, that kind of thing?
Oh, I can't remember the names. But there was one, person aide that came out while I went out and did some errands to be with her. Of course, I wouldn't be able to begin to remember her name. Right. Of course, when she died, there were two persons, and I don't know if they were nurses or not, that came and, helped to, take care of the body and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Well, were any of them involved with the like after the fact? Were any of them involved? Did they come to the? It's weird. It's like, was there a funeral home involved?
Well, no, this agency probably. Yeah, I mean, I made those plans because I shipped my mother's remains body back to here in Ohio. This is what she wanted to be buried. But no, they were with. It was because it was just me, doing her caregiving, right. And of course it was very stressful.
Sure.
It was two of them that came, and I'm sure they probably called the funeral home or something, because but I guess to notate time and so on and so forth, because she was diagnosed initially in 1999 with ovarian cancer, and of course, I was out there. I went out there to be with her. I got the call in the middle of the night. That type of experience, and that's what the diagnosis was, and it was, like I said, it was third stage. So I would have hoped and I prayed for miracles, but that one, that ovarian and some of the other cancers are just so, usually, unfortunately, when they're diagnosed, is already they have progressed. And so, as I said, she got the chemo, and of course, it probably didn't do any good because the tumors, not only her ovaries, but her stomach, either in or near her stomach, and
sometimes, well, it's weird, it's like, what is a miracle, and sometimes we pray for something or we hope for something, and we don't understand the answers that we get. Sometimes we don't get exactly, things to turn out the way that we want them to. And so that can be, so challenging. It can be challenging to our understanding, right, of how things are supposed to work. And when you have something like that that's so aggressive, still cancer is just so aggressive sometimes that we just, it feels like the body gets overwhelmed, and so the question is like, what is the mercy in it? What is the grace in it? What is the answer to that? prayer for a miracle, and what does that miracle look like? Does that miracle mean that the suffering is released? You know, is it released? Is it relieved from the person? And when we lose someone that we've really prayed for that miracle for, you know, it just reminds me that the grief and the sadness and the loss of that person, that's our process. And that the person that was in such suffering and pain and bad health, they have the grace. They have the mercy was shown to them because they're released from it. But we're left, you know, with that void, you know. And so that's the thing about this chart that you're looking for 21 years later, right? And you probably have been trying to get it all this time. What is that going to give for you to have that? And that might be something that to examine.
Well, I want to, and not to tell with particular situations and circumstances, but I want to present it to, it's involving a legal matter.
Oh, okay. Okay. And, okay, so if it's involved in a legal matter, have you been able to retain, you know, representation on it? And can they, like, try and track some of this down for you?
That they need the information from that.
So they're just like, they're kind of putting it on you to provide that to them for the case, right?
Right. Right. Because
right.
they can't do anything without the name of the agency and you know, and what were the circumstances, and that she did ultimately die of complications of cancer.
Right. Well, I would, you know, one thing that's good though, we don't know the agency, we don't remember the people 21 years ago, but we know where it was, Inglewood, California, right? Mm-hmm. And the biggest thing I'm seeing with the stones that I pulled on this is a focus on like the structure of things. So is there like another way to go about it? Maybe go to, you know, not physically if you don't live nearby, but you know, talk to somebody maybe in Inglewood about what businesses were registered there. And that might bring something up. If you could, you know, like what hospice agencies, nursing agencies, what were the names of the agencies that were, you know, registered to do business in Inglewood during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be something that you can find out through the city of Inglewood. Because I'm also getting like, you know, it has to do with it, you know, looking at things like the structure of things. So you know, who was operating back then, and also that you need to find a helpful person. And also, if your lawyer that you're retaining to help you with this thing can't have one of their, you know, assistants do some research on this, and they're kind of like, you can find somebody in the city of Inglewood that can help you sort of narrow this down to what agency it could have been, who was operating at that time, that kind of thing. But those are the two main things I'm getting just from doing, you know, essentially a psychic reading on this, you know, a metaphysical reading with these crystals. And they're saying it has to do with the structure of things, and she needs a helpful person. So I hope that helps. Okay.
Well, yeah. I did try. I mean, when I'm able to get on the internet, and when I have, you know, Wi-Fi here at home, which is not all the time. But anyway, I have looked to find, and I think I did put in Inglewood, but maybe I wasn't specific enough in Google.
Yeah. I would, you know, I feel like you need to talk to somebody that works at the city in Inglewood, maybe like the county clerk or something like that. Some place where they have the access to the records of who was doing business there. That's the big thing that I get. Like that's one way that it would narrow it down. If you could get a list of these kind of agencies that were operating at that time in Inglewood, something might trigger for you. Like, oh wait, yeah, that's the name of it. You might recognize it if you could see a list. Okay? So good luck with this. Use your lucky stones to get a hold of the right person that's gonna help you at least have an opportunity to narrow it down instead of like just trying to rack your brain. And obviously, a lot of crystals help us with clarity and thinking as well. But it's tough to remember something from that far back, and especially when it was at a time that was so emotional and so stressful, and all of those things that go along when we're taking care of loved ones in that situation. So I thank you so much for calling, Patricia, and call back next month, when we do our next episode, and let me know, how things are progressing for you.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Take care. Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Well, that was another great call. Okay, we've had Florida and Ohio on the phone, and we kind of blew past the bottom of the hour here. We're going to get back to the phone lines shortly. It's lit up like a Christmas tree, as my Tarot Today host, Dax Carlisle, might say. And we will try to get to all the calls that we can today. But let's go ahead and take a quick look at what is coming up on the Psychic Talk Radio Network. We've got a lot of great shows coming up this week. Our next show is going to be on Monday, March 8th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's the Wisdom of the Soul show with your host, Janice Fuchs. And that will be followed by Wednesday, March 10th. This one's a different time. Wednesday's show is 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And that is the Compassionate Light Healing and Guidance Hour with your host, Catherine Hahn. She's going to be giving free on-air guidance, and she's going to be talking about getting back to basics. What is spiritual awakening? This is part 2 in a series that she's doing on the Wednesday show. And then on Friday, the Doctors Are In show with Dr. Rose Wilkerson and Dr. Dax Carlisle. They'll be doing open lines, life coaching, and tarot mini readings all show long. And then I will be back on Saturday, March 13th, on the Tarot Today show, Carlisle, and we're going to be doing open lines and tarot mini readings all show long as well. So that is the lineup of our shows for the week. You can find that easily by going to psychictalk.net/upcoming to see what is coming up in case you didn't just immediately memorize everything I just said. All right, so I am going to check in on our chat post here. I see Sharona, Dax Carlisle, Charlotte is on there. Hello, chat room people. Hello. Labradorite is one of Charlotte's favorites. And Sharona's looking for some good vibes today. I hope we got some good vibes for you today, Sharona. Okay, so, I'll tell you what. Right before I get into talking about Labradorite, I feel like I'm going to circle back around to see if those 2 calls that were waiting a long time, if they've come back to the phone. Let's just check in on them really quick. And the first one was area code 330. Area code 330. Caller, are you there? Hello. Crickets. Okay. I'm going to put 330 back on hold. And I'm going to circle back around to 916. 916. Caller, are you there? Hello, caller, are you there? 916. Nada. Okay. Alrighty then. I'll tell you what. Why don't we just go ahead and take a couple more calls, and then we'll talk about Labradorite. See if these people are here. Area code 727. 27. Caller, are you there? Oh, you're there. Hello. Yay! What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Kate calling from Florida.
Kate from Florida. What do you want to talk about today, Kate?
Well, firstly, timing is so much, and it is rare that I am on Blog Talk on a Saturday afternoon. I heard the previous caller. I hope she's still listening. There is an organization in California called the California Hospice and Palliative Care Association. Their acronym is CAPCHA, CHAPCA. If she will contact CAPCHA, which is easy to find, obviously with Google, either through an internet message or a phone call, they will be able to tell her all the licensed hospices, and hospice requires a license, that existed in 2000. Secondarily, the state of California licenses hospice caregivers. So she's got two routes, CAPCHA and the state of California, and they will be able to tell her which hospices were licensed in the year 2000, and she can go from there.
Perfect. I knew there was a helpful person somewhere for her, and I knew it had something to do with the structure or organization. Oh, that's brilliant. I am so thrilled you called, and is she still listening on the line? I don't know. I think she may have caught some of that. She's called into the show before. I wrote down all of that, so I will definitely try and get that message to her because she is one of our regular listeners. Thank you so much for that. See, there's always help is always out there somewhere. Sometimes we just have to connect to it. And how lucky is this? We're talking about lucky stones today, and we get a lucky caller. So, what else did you want to talk about today, Kate?
Well, let's talk about my lucky stones. And the phrase "in perfect order" has appeared to me 3 times today. So there's obviously significance in that.
In perfect order. And that just is something that's repeating for you.
And different and totally different sources. You know, I picked up one of Carolyn Neese's books this morning.
Yeah.
Went right to the page, and the first thing I saw was "in perfect order." Looked at something on the internet, and "in perfect order" jumped out to me. And then you were talking about the order and the system of something, and you kept getting that. And that was the 4th occurrence in that I had also looked at something in reference to Einstein and Darwin and the order of things.
Wow. You know, and that is fascinating. You know, so what's going on in your life? Okay, because I don't think that things repeat like that just and it's meaningless, right? I think it usually has to do with like also us and what's happening in our life and what message be applied to. That could be applied to something a change you want to make. Are you looking at making any major changes, transitions? Even if it's something small, it doesn't have to be major, because a lot of times we're getting messages like that so that we can use them, so we can apply them. So what is it that
I think it's what you said. We're always being ready for the next step. It's just bringing those things into our awareness, just as you described with the last caller. The help is there. It's our openness and our ability to see what is seemingly unseen.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think what happens is sometimes we, what do they say, put the cart before the horse,
Almost
where
always.
we kind of, we like sort of like jump to the end instead of taking the little steps necessary. We can look at a problem and say like, oh, this is overwhelming and I just need the solution. But we gotta do the little, steps. So that idea of imperfect order, to me, you telling me this story, it's like, okay, what is it, what's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, etc. What is it that has to, what do you want to happen right now? Is there any area of your life where you're looking at like, okay, I would like to get to this point. What goal do we have?
Yeah, mine is always the alignment of being in well-being, and that is the wholeness.
Amen.
Part of that order is, not attempting to separate, okay, if this is okay, then I'll be okay. And unless, for me, complete help is about, again, the well-beingness, and that is being.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not
absolutely.
a condition as much as I'm always, when I say these things, we're always telling ourselves what it is we're seeking. So it is the condition of being and accepting,
and not having, that kind of dissonance in our life. That's the thing. It's like, well-being, wholeness. When I think of those things, I also think of contentment. I'm content in my mind. I'm content in my spirit. I'm content in my body. And content doesn't mean, it sounds like a boring word to a lot of people, but I think it's also like saying like, okay, I don't feel any dissonance. I don't feel any disconnect. I feel like I'm completely connected, and there's nothing that's throwing me off balance.
Oh, that's it. It's truly, contentment is a synonym for peace, and that's not about being still or complacent or, not that there's anything wrong. We always often go to that, sitting on a mountain singing Om. That's perfectly okay, but that's not the only condition of peace and contentment. Peace and contentment can take place on, let's hope we get there at some point soon, a busy subway in New York.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's all perception and perspective, because you can be on that busy subway in New York. You can be completely content and, on all levels, you're good. You're just happy to be, literally. And you have somebody sitting in that same subway car that is just like, their mind is in disarray, or they're, just worried about all kinds of things. And we have a lot more power within ourselves and within our, ability to bring that contentment in, than we do. So in perfect order, that sort of, to me, kind of says, like, okay, what's in perfect order? The mind, the body, the spirit, and if it's not, we have to look at what isn't, and what can we do to help ourselves? Because that thing of, like, the many, many different ways that we can help ourselves, I think a lot of times people look at that as meaning, like, I got to do everything myself. And I don't think it's really that way. I think that we help ourselves by availing ourselves to the help that is around us. And that can be from crystals, that can be from friends, that can be from nature, that can be from family. Not necessarily about even, like, blatantly asking for help. It's saying, like, okay, I'm going to connect. I'm going to connect to those things. I'm going to connect to stones, connect to nature, connect to friends and family. And I think that that's a big, big thing for people right now, is needing to feel connected. Because we've had a lot of, situations that, have made people feel like they're not connected anymore. Because maybe there's restrictions here or there, but everything's connected. We can't escape that. We're a part of it. We're a part of the whole thing. We're part of everything that is. And I think when we remember that.
Mr. Rogers said frequently, look for the helpers.
Exactly. Look for the helpers, and look for the good that's around us. Look for the good that's within us. We all have it within us. Everybody does, but sometimes I think we get I don't know. We get too focused on one thing, or maybe we just forget. Kind of like the last caller that couldn't remember the name of the agency. I think sometimes we're all forgetful. We're all forgetful of this inherent connectedness that we have, this inherent help that's available to us. And
you just said the most. This is so important too. Instead of I can't remember, is what you were saying. What will help you remember? You haven't forgotten.
Yeah.
You simply put it away, and there's some reason that you put it away, and that is the perfect order.
Yeah. There you go. We figured it out.
All right, let's talk stones. I still want to hear about helpful stones or crystals.
Yeah, so, look, I think it's all about what we're drawn to. Our featured stone today is Labradorite, and that is a stone that, when people see it, if they go to like a rock shop or a gem shop, or they're looking online at a bunch of different stones, Labradorite is one that just pulls us in because it has a beautiful flash of different colors. They call it labradorescence in Labradorite, but it's called chitoyancy and things like tiger eyes, that flashy kind of thing. It almost looks like a hologram. The blues and golds. And that's a stone that, people do feel can be lucky. And luck is also, such a personal thing. Your lucky stone could be one that you find on the beach. You're just walking along, and just it catches your eye, and you pick it up, and next thing you know, somebody, says something nice, or, you happen to pay less for your gas bill than you thought you were going to. You know, like little things like that give us clues that, like, hey, you know, it's kind of cool. I picked up the stone, and then this nice thing happened, this good thing happened. I think that's a lot of times how I attribute luck to something, you know, is that something happens shortly after the time that I came in contact with it or picked it up or thought about it. But, you know, the traditional stones that I went through that can be, you know, considered like lucky stones. Green Aventurine, Amethyst is one of them, Pyrite, Labradorite for sure. But it's going to be the one that you feel a connection to. Because, look, there's a lot of stones that people consider lucky, and what we have when we talk about crystals often is that there's a lot of lists of different attributes out there for different stones, and you know, somebody will look at that, they'll read a book, and they'll be like, oh, okay, well, you know, I want to bring more abundance into my life, more prosperity, and this book says citrine is the one that I need to do, or the money stone. And you can definitely approach it that way, and a lot of people do, but what you find is that, like, what works for one person might not work for another person. You know, they might not have the same impact. I have a friend who can't, you know, just does not like clear quartz. And almost every book you'll read on crystals, it's like clear quartz, clear quartz, clear quartz. And it's a wonderful stone, but not everybody is going to resonate with it. So I always think the number one thing is how we feel, you know, what we're attracted to, what resonates for us. And then we get that stone, we go and read about it, we learn about the stone, and then it's like, well, I feel like it's doing for me something that isn't mentioned in this book, you know, and then we question ourselves. Well, is that really, you know, yeah, all of a sudden self-doubt. And I feel like the information that's out there is, you know, probably like going by like what the majority of people say, how it affects the majority of people, the most people. And when we're talking about something like crystals, we're talking about, you know, a kind of a smaller demographic of people than, like, say, the general public, right? We're talking about people that work with stones. So things that can be known isn't necessarily written in a book, and a lot of the stuff that is written has to do what people's personal experiences have been, and we have to be open enough to allow ourselves to have our own experience.
You just said so much. Oh, my goodness. In that, it occurred to me that, as is often said, there are no coincidences. There is no such thing as coincidence. And chance is simply something that we view when we can't see or fully understand the order of how we achieved that outcome.
Yeah.
Because chance is mathematical too. So there is an order. Just because we can't see it or understand it.
Yeah. There you go.
There is order.
Perfect order.
There's chaos. And and even in chaos, something's being created.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think sometimes, you know, chaos is a you know, a factor at least, if not a catalyst for creativity. Because,
it always,
you know, when
precedes. Chaos is one of the orders of creativity in that it precedes. Out of chaos comes order.
Yeah. You know, that reminds me of the, you know, connecting that idea of chaos to creativity reminds me of just the simple phrase that necessity is the mother of invention. You know,
what problem are we solving is always the answer to, what problem are we solving? And we've solved at least one in terms of the order of the steps today. So
Yeah.
there you go.
There we go. Well, thank you so much for calling. I really enjoyed this. And thanks for finding the show today. Again, there are no coincidences.
Thank you for being in my company. It was my pleasure.
Oh, right back at you. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, well, that was, I don't know, the coolest call ever. It was so much fun. Oh, I hope all the listeners enjoyed that. That was just, I had a blast, callers today. And now, finally, without further delay, we're going to talk about Labradorite, our featured stone for the month. Okay, so here's the thing that's interesting. Labradorite is just like having such a banner year already, right? If you remember in January, the cover of Vogue magazine, okay, maybe not everybody reads Vogue, but, at least we usually hear about what's on the cover when it's newsworthy. And Kamala Harris was on the cover of Vogue. And what was she wearing? She was wearing this gorgeous Labradorite necklace. Now, this was just a beautiful, classic kind of link necklace and all of it was Labradorite with, set in gold with all these little Labradorite stones around it. That was a necklace actually made by I think a Los Angeles jewelry maker, Irene Neuwirth. I think she is based in L.A. Could be wrong about that, but Irene Neuwirth. Neuwirth is spelled Neuwirth. And again, that was the cover of Vogue. I think that was the January 10th issue of this year. And so you want to check that out. Pay attention to her necklace. And, what was funny is, and I don't always do this, but there was something about today that when I was preparing for the show, I decided to actually do a news search to see if there was any news, right? Like real news, people writing articles about Labradorite, And so, the big mention was Kamala Harris's necklace, but also a lot of people talking about the business finance people talking about the Labradorite market, Labradorite necklaces. Now that Kamala wore one, now the Labradorite rings and earrings are really in demand. And because they're in demand, I do want to talk a little bit about what do we need to know when we're purchasing Labradorite. What are we looking for? Well, basically, usually what we're looking at how it looks. We're looking for the flash, that labradorescence, where we see the kind of, it looks like, again, like I was telling Kate, like kind of a hologram, holographic, where you see like these flashes of blue and gold and just gorgeous. But something that's really interesting, Labradorite gets its name from Labrador, up in Canada, Newfoundland. And Labradorite is actually the official mineral of Newfoundland and Labrador. I didn't want to say Labradorite. But I saw a really interesting interview with a couple prospectors who have been working with Labradorite up there in Newfoundland for decades. And one thing that they want people to know about, because when tourists and visitors go up to that area, they want to buy a piece of Labradorite. So like it is with a lot of mining towns, you have a lot of shops that'll have Labradorite jewelry, they'll have all this stuff. And the thing that these people that have been doing this for decades now are worried about is that so much of the Labradorite that is being sold in Newfoundland, and look, this can also be online sales by some of these stores, is actually coming from Madagascar. Now, That doesn't mean it's not as cool or as beautiful or not a good stone. They're terrific. But sometimes we want to get stones that are sourced from a particular area, right? Maybe we have ancestors that lived in Labrador. Maybe, there's something about that area that, we want the original official mineral, from that official place. So that's something to keep an eye out for, and reminds us to always see if we can find out and try to find out where and how our stones that we're buying are sourced. Because it's not just an issue like that where, yeah, it's a stone, but it's not, people are going up there to bring back a souvenir, or they get a piece from Labrador and they go up there and go to a shop there and they end up with a stone that was actually sourced in Madagascar and cut and polished and processed in China. Because, the accusations going on right now is that this is almost like a scam because the shops are removing the Made in China label and selling it as local Labradorite. So just something that caught my eye, and I thought, well, it's a good time to talk about, paying attention and at least asking and trying on our end when we're purchasing stones to find out where the stones came from, how were they mined, how were they taken out of the earth, that kind of thing. And so the other thing, when we're looking for that flash, a lot of times that flash has to do with how the mineral is cut. So, it's kind of a thing where you can have a stone, but if it's cut by somebody or polished by somebody, processed by somebody who doesn't really know how to do it, then you're not going to get the flashy part, and you're going to think, oh, I've just got this sort of gray and black kind of stone, but they said it's Labradorite. It probably still is Labradorite, but they didn't cut it in such a way that you can see that flash that's there. And the thing that's interesting is that who are the people who really, really know about Labradorite are the Inuit. They actually equate, doing it the right way, cutting it the right way for a long time. So you get that sort of peacock blue and those gold looks from really being something that helped their local economy. And so that was something that was spread around within the community of okay, this is how you process it so the stones, really look good, and that is going to increase sales, and those sales are going to help the economy of the Inuit community here in Labrador and in Newfoundland. So that's something to just kind of keep in mind that, it's a lot of different aspects to the stones that we end up buying on the market. And it also is kind of great when we can find something that is sourced from and processed by and support and allow us to support Indigenous communities. So that's something to just, I wanted to make sure we could kind of wrap our head around all those things about Labradorite. And let's just talk about some of the basic properties of Labradorite. It's on the Mohs hardness scale. It's about a 6 to 6.5. It's one that's easily carved, and I have Labradorite kind of everywhere. I have a Labradorite ring. I have a lot of carved pieces. But one thing that I want to say that is so fascinating to me, my favorite pieces of Labradorite are actually small carved spheres. And the thing that's interesting about that is that what I've noticed, I have 2 Labradorite spheres that are small enough that you can, hold in your hand. And I use them for scrying. I use them for meditation. I just love the feel of the stone anyway. So what I've noticed is, if I'm sitting there kind of twirling it around in my hand and I look at it, it's like you see the stone start to change. And like I might pick it up, this little labradorite sphere, and it just looks kind of gray and black and nothing's really going on. But the longer that I hold it and sit with it, the more it starts to flash. And what I've been experimenting with my labradorite is just, okay, using it for meditation. But by meditation, I think I just mean like, relaxing and being quiet and just allowing things to come into my mind, And I feel like the labradorite stone flashes on good ideas or important thoughts that come through my mind. Like if something, if I have like a eureka moment or an aha moment or, wow, I wonder about this kind of moment, I'll look down at the stone in my hand and it'll just be flashing, flashing, flashing. And that's the same sphere that when I picked up, it was just sort of gray and black and whatever, And so that idea that it changes, that the look of the stone changes and catches our attention is something else that's been associated with labradorite. And it's in the folklore, in the legends of labradorite, that if you are wearing a piece of it or carrying a piece of it, and all of a sudden, you see the flash and the color and everything, and all of a sudden it goes dark, that it's trying to warn you, that it's trying to tell you to be careful. Maybe you're about to walk down the wrong street, or maybe you're not paying attention to where you're going, or you're about to encounter someone that may not be all that honest with you. And labradorite, some of the things that it's connected to is to have the ability to stimulate our intuition and our psychic abilities. That it can reveal the intention and the truth in situations. And it's one that's very popular for people that want to heal past life traumas and fears, that they want to have some help in doing things like what they call past life travel. Some people will call it astral travel. And being able to also block negative energies is also associated with healing, and it's supposed to aid in our spiritual growth. And this one I loved, promote faith in the universe, which I think, again, it's a perfect stone for this month and for right now, because don't we all kind of need to have a little faith in the universe? Some people will put it all in the universe. The universe brought me this, the universe said no, the universe said yes, and that's fine, but that doesn't work for everybody. I think there's a lot of people that are just having a hard time, having faith in the universe, in the world around us, in leadership, in each other. And I think we need to bring that back. I think we need to kind of say, like, okay, I'm going to have faith. Because, that's the great thing about faith is that is something that we can do. I posted a card of the day today on our Psychic Talk Facebook group. If you haven't joined that, please join Psychic Talk Radio on Facebook. The card that I posted was actually, and I looked for it. It wasn't random. That would have been wild. But it was the card from for labradorite from my crystal reading cards. A great oracle deck by Rochelle Sharman, and it was her labradorite card. And the message with it was take action. And I thought about that. I'm like, wow, okay, that's an interesting association with labradorite for one thing. But what is it about taking action? What can we do to take action? And she goes on to say there's specific moments when taking action is divinely guided by the universe. And now is one of those times. Don't wait for change to occur on its own. You can take action yourself to manifest your dreams. And sometimes taking action is really just about making choices, making a decision, choosing to even think about something from in a different way, or try to see a different perspective on things. You know, our thinking, our talking, those are all ways in which we can take action. The big thing is, like, don't procrastinate about it, you know? And it just kind of goes in line with everything that we've talked about with Labradorite, and especially that idea of having faith in the universe. Because maybe, you know, it's difficult to be active if we don't have faith that our actions are going to make any real difference. And again, you know, changing our thinking sometimes is an incredibly important way in which we can take action, you know. Stop thinking that it doesn't matter what you think, or it doesn't matter what you say, or it doesn't matter what you do. It does matter. It matters to you, and that's kind of what should matter the most, right? Because we can't, we can't control anything outside of ourselves. We can't control other people's reactions or their actions, but we can have power over our own decisions, our own choices, our own ways of thinking, and our own actions. And I think that in itself is a great reason to have faith in the universe. All right. Well, that is our show for today. I want to thank everybody who called in today. It was lovely to get a chance to talk to and connect with you all. I want to thank everybody in the chat room. And I will be back next Saturday with my lovely co-host, Dr. Dex Carlisle, talking tarot and taking your calls on the Tarot Today show next Saturday. And in the meantime, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and I hope you have a great St. Patty's Day this month, and that you find your lucky stone and that it brings much good fortune to you. Bye-bye, everybody.